as you enter the time of the Great Awakening, or that you may know as end times, end of days, Atlantis rising, or the new Living Lemuria, we say to you that you move into the core of the spiral, or the central point of the convergence, which is the 0 point field. At this point, all timelines, all potentials, and all possibilities converge. Worlds collide, if you will, and limitless possibility is yours as a planetary, galactic, and universal domain. One of the most predominant ways the service to self factions have created a false screen, false matrix to mislead and program you is to present the ambiguous, metaphoric, allegorical, and fantastical as literal. This literalizing of your linguistics across your planet has served them well, for it has created fear, and thus the opposite of expansion. In your days of decoding the metaphor and moving into multidimensional consciousness, you have expanded your understanding of linguistics to such a degree that you have become immune from the inverted literalizations. There are those who still exist within the sleeping dream spell of ignorance. Yet you who hold the awareness, you see, you hear. You are now enough in number and at critical mass for this particular inversion to not only not have the desired effect, but for it to have the opposite effect. The traps set through literalization of your linguistics are turned back upon themselves, and it is they that are caught within those traps. Now, within your spiritual texts and doctrines, these same traps have been laid for you. By altering words within text slightly, such as reincarnation and resurrection, to create a reuniting of souls, the linear is bound down to the physical and creates fear. For those who have walked the path of mystery in days of old, they have discovered the hidden truths and have presented them to you in multiple, several, and many forms, for hidden they had to remain. Yet now, in your now time, as you approach the central point of the convergence, you rise together, which is that you know as Great Awakening, and it is that which we refer to as the inevitability. Within this inevitability is the reveal of all that has been hidden, the removal of the veils, and the presentation of core source higher truth, which is the truth, only the truth, and nothing but the truth. Leading up to these end times, philosophers across the ages have debated, pontificated, and questioned the biblical references to the resurrection, or that which you may know as universal resurrection, the return to you of all the souls that have lost their lives. The dead will rise and join the living, if you will. Indeed, this is truth. Yet metaphor and allegory during end times hold multiple meanings. They continue to be inverted and literalized by the service to self negative structure, including a false screen presentation of such. When it comes to the universal resurrection, whilst this indeed is represented within source truth as ascension, light body activation, and full actualization, it is also represented through reincarnation. For all those souls you may know as ancestors, ancients, elders, and prophets have returned in incarnation at the time of the Great Gathering and the Great Awakening. Remaining hidden for thousands of years due to skull and bone DNA retrieval and low-level cloning technologies and the abilities to scan human incarnating DNA field structures, as you approach the center of the convergence in a rising together presentation, you become safe, if you will, to reveal who you truly are. Those with activated memory will at this time be able to step forward and present to the world who they truly are on a soul level, yet also on a reincarnational level. You will thus understand the patriotism from some for countries they have never visited, or the longings for and the grief at not being part of civilizations that exist within your earth, upon your earth, and many light years away from your earth. Memories return in multiple layers. This is one form of the resurrection. The dead rising and joining the living at the end times is the presentation of ancient souls that have become immortalized through text and scripture upon your planet. There will come a time when the big reveal comes, and the discovery of so much on so many levels will be as a tidal wave to the untrained mind. The surfboard is your only key to staying above the lost waters in these times of change and all that is ancient and new. The resurrection shall be attempted as an inversion. You may know this technology as the beam that is blue, yet that is only one presentation of this. It is the minds and the thoughts of those that sleep that are targeted, be it with pathogen, pathogenic cure, or the dead rising to stand by the living. To present the shadow, the shade, the waif, the banshee, as the literalization of such a prophetic truth, is an inversion of such. Yet so too, as the third dimension is cleared of the lower frequency thought emotion field, so too is the lower fourth dimension cleared of the sludge at the bottom of the swamp, if you will. Trapped, distorted, decaying consciousness shall be released and freed, so they may add to the overall recycling and renewal of planetary and etheric matter, and be reshaped into a new form that matches the higher dimensional structure, or be given life again within the third dimension in a different point in space and time. As this trapped consciousness leaves the lower fourth dimensional levels, it is presented to the true soul sight of the empathic, psychic, activated and aware. And so too, the apprentice souls, if you will, who are only just beginning their awakening unbeknownst to them. To draw upon this released energetic and invert the biblical prophecy is the false presentation of the flag, if you will. Therefore, to all those who hear our words, know that the strange, the ethereal, the wondrous and the supernatural shall be all around you as you move further into this cosmic space that is the core of the convergence end of days. Perspective is your greatest ally here, for the fears give rise to demonic entity, yet the knowing, the compassion and the love give rise to simply the shade, the presentation of a dissolving structure and a being that is leaving and has left. They come to you simply because you can see them. And this is a final farewell, if you will. For many of these souls, it is gratitude in the highest possible degree for you playing your part and acting out your role in this gargantuous and momentous task that is Freedom New Earth. For many of these souls are the youngest ones amongst you that have been held in magnetic reincarnational trappings for many of your Earth years. When you know this, when you feel this, you shall see beyond the presentation of the lost waif, shade, or ghoul, and shall see the child within, simply returning into the arms of his or her beloved mother. She shall welcome them with such unconditional love that their pains shall be soothed and rehabilitation in the highest degree shall occur. Yet although this fills each and every starseed with a myriad of emotional responses, know that close to instantaneous integration is the tool called for here, for you are sorely needed. Hear us, spirit healers, you are sorely needed. For those in physical incarnation who do not know the true nature of these lost souls being drawn into freedom, shall imagine them ghost, ghoul, or demon. The collective fear thus gives the negative factions material with which to power up their technologies, if you will, and delay your Stargate ascension thus more. This is what is meant in your biblical scripture as those who sleep in the dust of the earth shall awaken, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and contempt. It is the game that is playing out right now upon your planet in your third dimension and lower fourth harmonic. Whilst all souls eventually come to everlasting life, if you will, there is a journey to that state. You, starseeds, are already at the pinnacle of that journey in relation to your third dimensional existence. Yet there are those who remain in ignorance, even to their own awakening. You, healers of spirit and earth, you are thus called. The task at hand will be arduous, but not one that you cannot come into, for you are well trained at levels beyond your own understanding at this point. That which you know as autism, obsessive-compulsive disorder, bipolar, schizophrenia, and post-traumatic stress disorder, amongst others, are those patterns and presentations that are the result or consequences of such experience of the lower fourth dimension. Those who hold the linear thinking mind, however well-intentioned, shall miss the crucial point that is the spirit and the link between imagination, empathy, and mind. It is you, starseeds, that hold the title of alternative, new thought, holistic, or spiritual. You shall be the mothers holding out your arms to these brothers, sisters, parents, and children that call you so desperately. Whilst it would seem that these healers needed are not enough in number and shall therefore become overwhelmed, this is not the case, for the horn of plenty is given in abundance to the awakened souls on earth at this time. The ancient mother spirit healers shall line up with synchronicity, and all who call for healing shall receive it. We wished, if you will, to make you aware of this aspect of the awakening that shall begin to occur at your current time, your now time, as souls awaken in their thousands. Within this transmission, we present this wish, this draw towards our destiny as the white-winged collective consciousness of 9. Recognize the organic from the artificial. You do this through the intentional emotional focus that you are well equipped to direct. Know then that the resurrection is to be embraced and celebrated, not feared. It is a reuniting of souls, not an invasion of them. The invasion that occurred within stealth and secret upon your planet is now being exposed. That exposure shall thus end it. We repeat, that exposure shall thus end it. The reuniting of the true soul galactic family shall be the greatest reunion of your lifetimes, for it involves, at the very core, the coming back to the one soul you love, honor, and know above all other souls, yourself. We are the white-winged collective consciousness of 9. What is karma? Are there ways we can balance this and become karma-free? Is there a particular nutritional plan we should follow for ascension? Do we increase our karmic balance by eating certain foods? How can we utilize sex magic to work with karma and move through ascension? There are many lessons we can learn from the peoples of ancient Lemuria, a civilization that existed before our known history on planet Earth. As we move through an ascension process collectively, we move back into a new Lemuria, and we take with us all the knowledge we have accumulated since those times. In this transmission from the white-winged collective consciousness of 9, key codes are presented for cellular memory recall, linking the reader beyond Atlantis and into the harmonious frequencies of the first physical civilization on the Earth, Lemuria. The 9 respond to questions using the Lemurian way as a template. Key-coded responses trigger activations within the reader as they receive the wisdom codes, standing as rainbow warriors of Gaia, moving into abundance, alchemy, and Stargate ascension. This transmission is dear to my heart, and I'm so very pleased to announce my new book, Lessons from a Living Lemuria.